विजय, प्रणब, आदित्य, साइकत, चिराग, बाकी चार बुला लूँ। The next session is going to be on direct to consumer and gaming, a new frontier. I'd like to invite Mr. Vijay Singh, founder Trophee. Mr. Vijay will set the context and also moderate the discussion. We also have with us Mr. Pranab Punj, who is strategic advisor, APAC, Xsolla. I don't know whether I pronounced it right or not. Aditya Maurya, founder Zelox Entertainment, and Mr. Chirag Chopra, founder Lucid Labs. With these words, let me invite the speakers to take the stage, please. Thank you very much.
Moderator, should I go there? Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm audible? Okay. All good? Okay. So I'm loving the topic, first of all. And good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are doing well. And welcome to our panel discussion on direct-to-consumer and gaming, a new frontier. I'm Vijay Singh, founder and CEO at Trophee. And I will be in the driving seat today and will be driving the session to explore that how a direct engagement with the consumer is redefining the way the gamers are consuming the gaming content, how it is boosting the monetization for the gaming companies, and how it is opening the massive opportunity for the global brands to deeply engage with the gamers. Now today, we will also deep dive and understand that how the convergence of D2C, that is direct to consumer, and the gaming is reshaping the community-driven economy and how it is shaping the landscape of the game commerce. So for the next 45 minutes of ride, I'm joined by my wonderful panel of friends, and I hope you will experience a great journey with us. So I'm just rolling the mic for a quick round of introduction, and then we will start from there. So over to you, Chirag.
Thanks, Vijay. Hi, I'm Chirag Chopra. I own and lead a studio called Lucid Labs. We've been making games from the past 10 years now, and the journey has been adventurous, so to say. We started on mobile with an Apple Arcade exclusive, and then went on to get featured at WWDC keynote, and then eventually launch our games on PC and Xbox and PS5. Our idea with games is very simple. We love experimenting with ways to make people stick around, either through creative gameplay, through creative monetization strategies, or just by crafting an intuitive experience. I'm very happy to be a part of this panel and looking forward to the discussion. Thanks.
Thanks, Aditya. Yep.
Hi, this is Aditya Maurya, and I'm founder CEO of Zelox Entertainment. Like Chirag, we are also developing games from a decade, but our journey is not so adventurous. We have been doing a lot of things from here, making games for VR, console, and then mobile. So we are pretty confused what to do now. Now, after D2C, I thought like let's make a game on D2C now. So that's why I'm joining this panel and planning to learn more from the panelists.
Yeah, Pranab.
I think I'll be the oldest guy in the room here, but my name is Pranab Punj. I am a strategic advisor for the APAC region at Xsolla. Xsolla is one of the world's leading video games commerce company that helps mobile gaming and video gaming companies go direct to consumer, keep more of their revenues, be more profitable, and get and help in their gaming journey right from conceptualization to funding to launching. My background, I started way, I think, I started the journey of gaming in India back in 2003 with India's first first publishing company to come into India in 2003, bringing in Ragnarok Online, which was, I think, the top 5 MMORPGs in the world those days. Then going on and building the brand Zapac.com, which some of you must have experienced. So I was a founding team member and brand manager. Grew that brand across gaming cafes and all, and then kept growing into roles before I became an entrepreneur. I am now a shareholder and co-founder of a bunch of companies that play in the area of tech, media tech, AI, gaming, media, and entertainment. Xsolla is a company that I was a part of and brought it to India about a year back. And yes, I'm just bringing the ecosystem to Indian developers.
Yeah, wonderful. So a quick brief about myself. As I mentioned, like I'm the founder and CEO at Trophee. And at Trophee, we are the world's first immersive game commerce technology and enabler company. What we are offering is a very seamless and immersive intersection of online gaming and a real world shopping. So at one side, we are trying to uplift the monetization for the gaming companies and also the other key metrics for them like session time, play time, retentions, and so on. On the other side, what we are doing is like working with the top brands and helping them to engage deeply with the gamers. So this is the two things we are trying to balance, and that too without disrupting the gameplay, because this is the one thing that is doing by the conventional ad formats, and we are trying to change the picture. So great, let's begin. Now, when I am thinking about direct to consumer, to me and according to me, it is like breaking the traditional and conventional the channel, and creating a meaningful experience for the gamer by creating a deeper and direct relationship with the consumer. So I wanted to understand from you, and I'm really curious to understand that what does direct to consumers in gaming really mean to you, right? And why it is generating so much of excitement, particularly when how does the direct to consumer impact the relationship between the the game publisher and the consumer? So I would start with Pranab, and let's understand this.
Thanks, Vijay. I think this is a very pertinent and important topic, and Vijay, you and I, we all play in that direct to consumer space somewhere, right? Very closely. I think the biggest thing and to point out is that when I did the first game, Ragnarok Online in 2003, there was no intermediary in between the developer and the gamer or the player. A gamer had to go to the Ragnarok Online store and just buy, right? Whatever they wanted to buy. And then this era of intermediaries came, right? And I don't want to quote them. I think they play a role, but the problem is exactly what one of the largest gaming companies in the world and their founders talk about, right? There is a battle going on. The problem is that they become like the controller of the destiny of the developer. And I think that is very wrong. There is a wall garden between the player and the game developer. That is also wrong, because a consumer or a player comes to play the game. They don't come to a store. They're not a fan of a store, right? They're a fan of a particular game. And so I think that's that. So I think what direct to consumer does, and why is it so exciting, is it changes how developers connect with players and granting them direct control on pricing, exclusive content, interactions. Globally today, and for me, why it is so exciting for India, I see the global impact of direct to consumer strategies on gaming companies, their profitability, their growth. Today, one of our leading solution, which is Xsolla Web Shop, which is a solution for gaming companies to be able to sell their in-app purchases and digital content to consumers directly, is driving revenues for top 50% of the top 100 developers in the world, right? And some of these developers, I think the last year numbers, this web shop solution alone drove about $1 billion in revenue, which is outside of the standard store revenue. So it's not cannibalizing, it is actually helping you grow and create. The bigger and the most important thing is direct to consumer is not, again, it is a developer-centric solution. It is not taking the player away from the developer. It is actually bringing, so when you run a web shop with Xsolla or any, then it is your website. It is not, the consumer is not going somewhere else. So all the data is yours, all the consumer is yours, which is, I think, because I come from the data space and I can keep going on and on about it, but data is the new oil, right? And when you are running your game on a store, third-party store, that data is not yours. And that's where the third-party store is making a couple of $1 billion. You are not, because they're mining that data. It is your consumer data. It's your player's data. And more than that, I think your connection with your player has to be direct. And you have to keep maximum of your profit. Simple, simple math. You should keep 95% of your profit. That's our philosophy. We just take 5%. Stores take 30%. So,
Yeah, this is how it is. But thanks for sharing. So what is your take on this, Aditya?
For me, there are two verticals for this. First one is there is G2C gaming. What do we mean by D2C gaming? We are bringing the parlors to the cities and we are making people play the games. So this is D2C gaming. The another part is the D2C brands clubbing with us, the gaming companies, and then bringing the solutions to the public. So then we can say that, okay, D2C blend is going on with gaming companies. So we can make a game on, let's say, I don't want to name a company, but let's say Myntra only. There is a kiosk, we can do something around it. So when people, let's say Myntra open stores, when people go and they play certain games, there is some reward system which makes consumer, keep on going to the store. So according to me, this is how I differentiate between D2C gaming. And from phase one, it will go to D2C, what do you say, like pure gaming parlors, which culture right now doesn't exist in India. Although Zapak tried it, and I'm very glad that I was a part of that when he used to play it. But now I still feel there is a lacuna in it, and we need to bring direct-to-consumer gaming in those kind of a setup.
Good. We have two different insights for D2C. So what is your bite on this, Chirag?
I think I agree with most of the points about what these gentlemen have already mentioned. And I think when we talk about D2C gaming, it doesn't just, there's not just one node to it. Like it doesn't start or end at selling. For us, D2C is also something that begins right at the stage where you start building the product. And instead of thinking in terms of selling an experience, we also believe by cutting the middleman out and forming a direct relationship with the customer or the player, we get to have these early feedback and the early suggestions come directly through the potential players. That helps in building something that we know will relate to our potential user base rather than taking a shot in the dark, right? So for us, we believe D2C starts when you actually start building the product, not when it's time to sell the product.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So thank you so much for those insights. So far what we understood that what is D2C is all about, and we have a different perspective on this. Now, just moving forward, let's deep dive into that what could be the opportunities and the challenges, because now we have a different, the panel members seeing the D2C in a different way. So let's understand from them that how the opportunity and the challenges is different for them. So my question to you on the opportunity side is that what is the biggest opportunity for a game developer when adopting a D2C model, right? So I would start from you, Aditya, and then we'll go to the Chirag, and then we'll discuss.
So there are a couple of business models which can be worked upon. So let's say a fashion brand is collaborating with us. We can make a game on an apparel where you can try certain apparels, and then there is certain reward system which helps that particular brand to do customer engagement. Second is I can also think of a reward-based system which Duolingo does. I don't call Duolingo as a D2C brand, but they have a very unique model where you have a user journey, and then there is a lingot terminology which they use it. So by throughout the journey, you are learning, and you are also learning a language, and you are getting reward again and again. Like in level 2, you get something. In level 3, you get something. So these are the unique business models which we can work upon with the brands.
So, Chirag, what is your take on this?
Yeah, similar to what Aditya said, I think D2C is, apart from having a lot of cons, there are also a lot of pros. Like always, there are two sides of the coin. So if I talk about pros, one thing that becomes really clear and straightforward is obviously the key to personalization. And it comes from, since you're directly, in touch with the potential customer or the customer, it helps you build those personalized offers, personalized experiences, which is not generic in any way, but is based on a lot of data points, a lot of interactions, and it helps you convert those customers better because you have, direct insights about your customer, and you are able to generate these personalized contextual offers and gameplay experiences, which happens to be like one of the best advantages of this kind of model.
Right. So I would like to tweak a question a little bit for you, Pranab. So I wanted to understand and ask you that what strategies can developer use to keep players engaged through the D2C approaches and beyond setting up an online store and so.
Great. Thanks, Vijay. And I was listening. I'm so happy. Firstly, I'm just smiling so deeply inside when I hear developers and how Chirag's kind of, speaking about D2C in such a holistic manner. Absolutely in line with you, Chirag. And I think we've had some conversations. We believe the problem when we go out, especially to newer gaming markets where D2C is still an early concept, we believe that a lot of developers end up seeing it as a post-launch, after my store strategy for skimming some extra revenue opportunity. That's totally wrong. And as you rightly said, D2C gets deployed the day you put your first build out. You can actually do pre-launch. And I am not authorized to name those developers in India, but there are gaming companies in India who have used Xsolla's technology, web shop, cloud gaming, to actually launch during beta stage for pre-sales, right? And they've been good. The numbers have been good. They've not been bad. So there are already developers who are using these strategies. And as Chirag said, for me, I think D2C only has positives. There is no negative. Negative, the only way you can pull a negative out of it is, yes, is D2C the all and end all? Is that the way to look at it? No, absolutely not. We always say that it is a holistic strategy. It goes hand in hand with your store strategy. It cannot be either or. It has to be all of it together. You have to be on the stores. You have to have your D2C play. You have to have any other way of distribution. As he defined D2C as a totally new category of, having physical kiosks or physical gaming cafes and stuff. From our perspective, how you go beyond setting up an online store is many things. D2C is not just a web shop. That's one thing I want to clarify. It is not about selling your in-app purchase. D2C is, we have Xsolla Cloud Gaming, which means you can take your game without hardware infrastructure, port it, take it to your consumer directly. We have Xsolla's payment solution called PayStation, which has 700 plus payment methods. You plug it in, so you're now being able to sell your game directly to your consumer, right? D2C is about launching your launcher. Launcher app is a solution that we have through which if you have multiple games, you can actually create an app on which you can cross-promote your app. Web shop is a solution where you can do live ops. We are talking about rewards, right? So there is, on web shops, you can have rewarded ecosystem that you can bring in. So D2C is a bunch of things that come together, right? And it is nothing else but what the word or what that statement means, direct to consumer. A way for you to be able to go directly to your player, right? And so for me, I do not see any negatives. I only see positives. And, Xsolla has a plethora of solutions to go direct to consumer.
No, absolutely. So I would go to you, Chirag. You mentioned about some cons. So on the flip side, I just wanted to understand that what are the key challenges or the pitfall of going that D2C approach? You can take an Indian, of an Indian market situation or global, whatever. So what are the cons, the key 1 to 3 points that what you are coming in your mind?
So before mentioning the cons, I think these are cons in terms of related to a studio of our size and for someone with resources that I have. Plus, for different kind of companies and studios, these may not be relatable. Obviously, the kind of resources you work with. When I talk about cons, I think Pranab actually put it in the right way. It's not a situation about or. Like the right strategy is to use all the channels, not one channel where you rely on D2C having your own, channel to sell the game or monetize the game. Because if you go with that route only where you don't rely on third-party platforms or stores, the one of the major challenges is it's all on you, right? From marketing to reach to exposure to payment gateways, backend, everything is on you unless you decide to use something like Xsolla as a platform, which is something not every company or a studio can really procure as a kind of a burden, right? So when you work with third-party platforms, one of the major advantages that you get is marketing, exposure, featuring, organic marketing and all that. But if you do it, like Pranab mentioned, as something as a supplement to the third party store, not like the only avenue, then it makes sense. Otherwise, handling all those sort of things and then building the product itself, it's just too much to handle for a company and instead of focusing on the product.
Now, Aditya, what is your take on that?
I think Chirag has put it right way. You have to have a holistic approach. You can't just focus on one thing. And with D2C, yeah, D2C, it's the other way around. I think that D2C brands will gain much from the game developers, and we will also go in a different vertical altogether. So he coined a word, I think he said direct to player. I would like to say direct to gamer. And if a gamer is engaged, then he might buy anything from a soap to April.
So this is just wanted to share a quick thing that at Trophy that we are seeing, the good part is that, direct to consumer is a very broad category as of now, and we can, define it in our own way. At Trophy, like what we are doing is like we are bringing the D2C brands directly to the consumers. So because what we have realized that gaming is just not a source of mere entertainment, it's altogether a platform. And when there is so much attention on that platform, and obviously like globally there's so much happening on this particular platform, and when the global brands are sitting with the huge dollar budgets, and to my surprise is that like when I'm talking about the big brands like the Nestle, Hero, Mondelez, and even the HUL and so, they are more concerned about that the gaming experience. They don't want to interrupt the gameplay. They don't want to go a conventional way of showcasing their brand and engaging with this brand. They are looking for a new way that how we can because these are the same consumers who might see their ad on the TV or radio or the print and going and consuming their product in day out, right? They just wanted to know that how to connect with the modern consumers, the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha will join soon. So they wanted to know that how to tap it without interrupting the gameplay. So this is a way that this is the area that what we are tapping at Trophee. Now, but one thing that what I understood is that the direct to consumer and the community driven is interrelated. And this is the next, the section where I am moving into. I just wanted to understand that the role of the community, right? And again, I would like to start from Chirag, from you that how do you think that how important is the community feedback in shaping a D2C strategy? I know that you mentioned in the start that you are taking the feedback, the data and so on. So it's very important. I would love to understand from you that how it is important.
So I think one of the things at Lucid Labs we are really proud of is the way that our core ethos align with working directly with our loyal users and turning players into loyal users. And the way we do that is a lot of community building where we don't just rely on the community to talk good about our game, but also engage them in a way where they feel valued. Now you have to understand D2C is all about creating value for the potential player, not through your product, but they should also feel valued in the product or in the game. And if there's something where the value comes from one of their feedback or suggestions being directly applied to the game, they feel really happy about it. They feel happier than actually playing the game because they feel like it's something they've built the product through their own feedback and suggestions, which is why ever since right from the beginning we start building our new game, we have a core set of loyal players we engage with. Obviously you can't just take all the feedback in as the producer or as the product manager. It's your job to filter out the right stuff from the bad stuff and also make sure what fits into the scope. But when we start right from the community where we invite them to not only play test the game, we invite them to shape the product with us, but also take their suggestions in terms of what features and how they'd like to see a feature rolled out, and also whether this is something that aligns with them. And the moment you do that, you'll realize when people feel encouraged and they feel valued as not just as a player but as a creator themselves, this is how you create loyal users. And with the last game we also tried something like UGC, where within the game we have a level creator or a level maker where anyone in the world can create their own levels, their own games within our own game and publish it to the world. Once you start doing that, I mean, we were surprised to see right now there are more players in the game playing the game than they are creating levels for it. And to give you an example, we shipped the game with just 100 levels. Right now we have 600 levels in the game and 500 of them have been created by the players. So we realize that once you give them the right tools and make them feel valued, they'll even have more fun creating stuff for the game than actually playing it.
Thank you. It's a true example of community. What is your quick bite on this, Aditya?
So, you mean the D2C community, right?
Yeah, the community role in shaping the D2C. Yes.
So, if we create a Venn diagram, like hypothetically, set A is a D2C community of that particular brand, let's say a shampoo brand. And you have a gamer community which is aligning with that, that this is a set B, which is aligning with that particular brand and trying to play a particular game on that particular brand. So we can have a mutual set where both of these users and gamers are trying to engage with this. Now, Chirag made a very important point, UGC. We can deploy UGC within a particular game. From there, user-generated contents can fetch more users to that particular D2C brand. So this is tremendous. If you can create a game where a particular, let's say, a user or a shopper has a UGC and they want to, fetch more users to it, they can do it. There's no issue in it.
Yeah. So, Pranab, I wanted to understand a different, I have a good different question for you, first of all. So, help us to understand that how does Xsolla web shop support developers moving toward a direct-to-consumer approach? What is your take? You can take again like Indian example and our global, both the things.
And what I'll do, Vijay, is that, and thanks, because I do want to talk about web shop because I definitely feel that Xsolla web shop is a solution for Indian developers. It's a mobile-first market. It is not that you should have a web shop and think about it. It's just a part of your product strategy. You should have it. That's a different story. But let me just go back to the first part, which is fairly interesting, which Chirag and Aditya also spoke about. From my perspective, I think D2C offers you powerful tools to connect and deeply connect with your gamer, that or the player. That's the most important thing. All that revenue and engagement that will happen is because you are being able to directly connect. You're being able to offer. So when you are running a web shop, what are you doing? It is not just a place where you are selling a in-app purchase. That's what I want everybody to understand, and I'm happy to do sideline sessions. Xsolla web shop is like running your own portal. It has tools for you to be able to create unique offers, unique in-app purchases, bundles, and these are all basis data that you're getting about the player, right? And what their needs and wants are. Xsolla web shop is a solution for you to be able to convert your, whales, right, and into your dolphins into your whales, right, and bring them up and create a larger pool of whales who's going to be a more loyal user base. And how is that happening? Because it's not a place for a consumer to just go and buy a in-app purchase. And what we do, we have specialized teams which work with the developers. Chirag may have experience of some of the other developers. We are not just going and telling them how to sell an in-app purchase. That's not webshop. We created webshop, and webshop is a community engagement tool, right? We go and make them understand. How will you understand what do you offer? How do you offer? What do you how do you connect it with loyalty, right? And then we are constantly thinking, how do we enhance that experience, of a web shop when a consumer is coming there? Can there be an offer wall? Can there be something else, right? That is becoming more and more richer experience for a consumer. And last thing is, when you go and see top web shops from Pokemon Go and all, which are run through us, they are community websites. They are not just places for you to go buy an in-app purchase, right? There is live ops happening there. They understand the consumer, so they offer the consumer cohorts different offerings. So I think it's a lot bigger. I think in this whole answer I've spoken about web shops. I think web shop is a tool for a developer to be able to create a deeper connection and a one-on-one connection with their player, with their whales, and be able to grow that pool of whales larger by offering them, bespoke in-app purchases, offering them rewards, connecting in-app purchases to reward ecosystem, and connecting it deeply to their gameplay. Lastly, a web shop is a place for your player to be able to experience your game in your own environment, not on a third-party environment. That's why a gamer comes to a web shop, because they're not coming to an Xsolla website, right? They're coming to Lucid Labs, XYZ game, whatever the game name is. They're coming to Pokemon Go's website, right? And that's where they're experienced. So it's a very different, holistic kind of approach. Yes, sale of in-app purchases where you make the money, so that's important. But yeah, that's the holistic answer. I hope I have answered.
No, absolutely. So now we are moving to a very interesting section, and my favorite topic as well. That is an integrated monetization and the commerce within the gaming. So just help me to understand that when it comes to the monetization, that how the game developers, studios, are balancing one side the monetization and on the other side the gamer's experience, because both are important, as you know that. So I want to start from the Aditya, that how you are making a fine balance between monetization and the gamer's experience.
You ask me the most difficult question every time. So this is pretty interesting. When a brand collaborates with you, they want to bring as much branding as they want. And as a gamer, we want, as game developers, we want more gamers to play the game. If there will be branding all across, there will be no, the game will not look good. And the customer engagement will fall down. We know that because we have been making games for almost a decade. But brands don't see that. And they feel that, no, there should be branding all across. So, as Chirag said in the first point, you have to do this at first stage itself. Like when you're storyboarding the game, when you're creating a prototype, then only you should have a discussion with the brand owner or the brand strategist that this is how we are going to make the game, and this is the balance which we would like to maintain. We won't promise you day 1, day 7, day 15 retention like our usual games, but this is what we can do in this particular prototype. Now, if they both parties agree to it, we launch the game and we see through it in pilot testing how is it performing.
So before moving to you, Chirag, I just wanted to add a few things that in Indian perspective and in a global as well. Almost like if you take a rough figure, like almost 90% of the games as of now is being dominated by mobile. Is a mobile dominated market everywhere, most of the places. And within that 90% in some of the report I was going through, and it was mentioned that almost 80 to 85% of the games, almost 80% of the games are F2P games, that is free to play games. And in India, it is 85%, and in global, it is almost 78%. These F2P games are relying on the ads, right? It's a big number, it's a big market. Now, I just wanted to understand the same question from you, but take it, Lucid is one example, but Lucid Labs, but also as a global overall perspective for the gaming ecosystem, that how do you think that a game developer can make a fine balance between a monetization, right? That may include the ad monetization and in-app and so on, and a gamer's experience.
So I would say Lucid Labs is probably the worst example because us as a studio we hate free to play. We feel free to play, if done right, is something that you call as freemium, where we believe it should not be, the game should not force the player to purchase because they feel like they need it. It should be the other way around. They should want it because they should realize it's something that would enhance their experience. That's how we like to design our games, in a way where we are not going to monetize players because in a way where they feel restricted to go ahead and this is the only way for them to play the entire game. We would only do it if they feel like they want to buy something because this will make their life easier or better in any way. If not, they can play the entire game for free. So that's the strategy we use. And as a freemium, you have to realize, like in the beginning I mentioned, it's about selling the experience. If you rely on those, chump change in-app purchases and ads in the D1, D0, just to make a quick buck from the users who drop off after day one, you're never going to make a big business out of it because you're not looking at it in a long-term value situation. You're only looking to monetize, the first set of users howsoever you can. The way we feel it, or even something that we are inspired from games like Supercell, right? Supercell never, implements ads in their games. You'll find it, they've tried it and they've realized the ROI or the LTV that you get from a player without ads is still higher than what you get with ads, even if you do it right? So that's the same ethos that we follow. Implementing monetization should not be something that you fit into the game loop after you've made the game, just to have a layer on top of the game as, to work with. You should design the game with monetization being part of the core game loop, and it should feel like an enhancement rather than a requirement, which is how we see monetization in our games, a freemium model where the entire game is available for free, but for those higher, like Pranab mentioned, whales, the idea is to monetize them by providing a right experience, not to bombard them with ads just to make quick money in D0 or D1.
No, true. So what is the true problem here? Is the conventional ad format is the problem, or there is a need of the new technology? What do you think?
I'd love to actually, just extend, and I know I'm going to go into a territory which is not exactly ours, but it is going to be soon, and we've been talking about it. But see, there is this. I think Chirag's got a very good point. The point is intrusive advertising. That definitely has a very negative effect. And again, I've seen too much water under the bridge to know this. Handling about 4 AAA titles, right, which I'm fairly lucky to have done. And I think what Trophee is trying to do, or what we are trying to do, and then what you are talking about, right? I think there is a non-intrusive way of rewarded experiences. I wouldn't call them advertising. I would call them rewarded experiences, right? And which could then connect. And as Chirag rightly said, I think it's also very important, Vijay, to know that eventually it is a survival game for a developer, right? And you have to be profitable. And profitability definitely comes from non-advertising avenues, which is direct consumer paying for it, right? That's why, successful big billion-dollar studios are all where consumers are paying for them. So I think that rewarded way of advertising, right, or offer walls, or these kind of solutions which are connected to a core gameplay, which means as we were talking, and I think, people can get to know about Trophee from you, but when you are inside and it's a part of the gameplay and being incentivized is very different from something being slapped as soon as you're getting into a critical place and, some advertising comes in random, right? Or say, please have Coca-Cola, this will give you a power up. Why the hell should I have Coca-Cola? I'm playing World of Warcraft. I want that particular potion. I don't want to have Coca-Cola. Sorry, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying, so I think that fine balance is always tilted towards gamer experience, right? And you have to go, serve their experience. And so that's where when we do web shop and all these solutions, we always go and advise to the developer that it should not be a web shop where you just have drab in-app purchases, same things that are available on, your app store, right? It has to be an experience. They have to come here every day to figure out, oh, you know what, I'm getting these exclusive offers. I'm getting a discount today. This is a limited time offer. It will go away, right? If I do this, I'll get that, right? If I, do this in the game, I may get a 20% discount on the web shop. That's real experience because now you're connecting, you're talking, you're leaderboards, right? And so this is a very different experience from what people imagine a web shop to be, which is like just an e-commerce portal for, selling the same in-app purchase.
Yeah.
By the way, on the web shop, you don't sell the same in-app purchase that you sell on, your stores. You sell unique items here. That's how they work so well. And we can talk, right? There are top developers who do, last year's data came to me, one of the top developers in the world does 50% of their revenue through their own web shops today. 50%, which is not, so, yeah.
No, these are fantastic numbers. Thanks for sharing. So now we are moving to the final, the section of the panel discussion. And I just wanted to understand from, and any one of you can take this question, is that how do you see that D2C model is evolving for the next few years, let's say the 5 years period? That how do you see that in India and in global perspective? How do you see that?
Should I take?
Any one of can you take? You can start.
No,
I
I think D2C, see, India and global are two different timelines. So the way I would like to say is I see India in the next few years catching up to global, especially US and Europe, where D2C has become fairly prominent, right? We've been doing D2C for 19 years. So you can imagine how old D2C is. We are not a 5-year-old company, right? We've been taking games direct to consumer for 19 years, right? Fortnite went direct to consumer at one point of time in 2014, I think. We were partnered, right? A lot of times, if you would have seen if you would have seen your gaming bill, you would have seen Xsolla in it. So we are powering up a lot of this for a long time. So I think D2C is the biggest transition I see personally, right? And I'm speaking for myself, is this amalgamation of this differentiation between D2C being a transactional solution as against being a community engagement way of doing it. D2C is wrongfully seen as just a revenue-making solution. It's not that. It is a very deep connection. Somewhere I think Aditya also tried to put that thought in, right? It's a very deep connection. It's basically in the words itself. How do you be direct to your consumer? So I see the big transition in India, we catching up to US and UK in the next 5 years. I can see that happening at a very fast scale. And I can tell you this is going to change the whole ecosystem in India.
No, absolutely.
And then US And Europe and the matured markets, I see innovations like, rewarded,
E-commerce.
and these things coming in.
Great. Chirag, you wanted to say?
Yeah,
You
I
want to
think
add?
the way I see it evolving is obviously, or what I love to see, it's more direct integration of somewhat semi AI, algorithms taking place where a transaction or an offer is not just personalized based on a region or let's say contextualized locally, but also it's directly integrated to the gameplay where, for example, if my game realizes that in a so and so level or in a so and so session the player seems to be losing a lot because their defense items are kind of low, I immediately get an offer that only offers me the defense items at a discount. So it's the way I see it happening is because it's not something regionalized or localized. It's based on how I'm playing a game and realizing what offer would make sense at that time for the player. Because at that time, the player motivation to convert would be really high because I'm offering them something that they, need right there at the right time to do good in the game. And that can only happen when you have all those sort of data working together to understand not only the offers but the game itself, and give you these kind of offers where you realize a certain play style or a certain game style for a player can be improved or enhanced with a certain personalized offer. That's how I see it is all evolving.
Thanks. Aditya, you want to take a bite?
Yeah. So for me, D2C gaming, like uh, there are other sectors where we need to focus on, and if we want to expand the gaming ecosystem, the game economy, we need to club edtech, we need to club consumer tech, we need to club health tech, and build titles around it. At least it doesn't matter like if you're doing for customer engagement, if you're doing for revenue, if you're doing for brand awareness. If there are titles across different sectors, suppose tomorrow a truck company wants to make a game, a racing game, and we are building a game over it, so it expands to that horizon also. There is a logistic game also which we can do it. This is how the whole economy will grow, and then only because I see a lot of people from different. That is why we are sitting here. It's IETF, and then there's logistics also. Then there's different companies out there. We can club with anyone, and we can make games around it. Movies have done this job wonderfully for 100 odd years. Now it's time for us to do it. That is what I think.
Wonderful. So how I'm seeing also like thanks to the opportunity that I worked with various global brands, and because we are seeing the picture from that side as well. One interesting thing that what we are seeing is that the involvement of the top brands into the gaming, and this is not just programmatic, right? They wanted to move beyond that, and one of the primary reason that they wanted to move beyond that and still wanted to have a big bite into the gaming ecosystem is that they wanted to go and move beyond the conventional metrics, right? The brands don't want them that just to show a banner and and then go away. They wanted to know that from an active users how we can create a deeper engagement, how there can be a commerce opportunities can be created within the game, and that too without disrupting the gameplay, right? So this is one thing that what we have seen, and there is a many, when you talk about gaming, then there's a different kind of gamings as well. Like there is a female-centric games, like we are working with few of the brands. There are the kids-focused games as well, and then there is a brands who have the kids-focused products. They wanted to reach to those particular audiences, but they know that how to tap it. They just need a technology around it, and how we see is that the technology is evolving on that side as well. So thanks to that. So we don't have much time left, but we are just opening a floor for a few questions. If anyone of you having a question, please raise your hand, and we can take maybe one or two questions.
Hi. So from perspective of being a young developer, we have lots of young developers here in the audience as well. So from perspective of a young developer, it's one thing to learn about this is a point light, this is a C# script, this is a rigid body, and then you make a game that's functional and launches, but you don't really stand out, right? So there are thousands of games coming out every year. So from each of you, I would like to hear, developers who are going to be in the market next year, 5 years from now, the next generation, how can they overcome this problem of standing out? Standing out in front of where 1,000 games are getting launched, why would their game get attention?
So I can only tell you from my experience what are the things that I did wrong, and I think I should have known a little earlier than after a decade. I think when we start making games, we focus too much energy on standing out, and we focus too much energy on being innovative, being creative, and just for the fact of, if someone's creating X and Y, I will not even create Z, I will create B, just because I want to stand out. And that's something I used to do. I'm guilty of that. I thought that's the only way of making big, but now that I know what I know, I would say you also have to look at a game from this point of view of not just standing out in terms of the game standing out, but also looking into the market and realizing what is the market gap that your game will fill, and whether there's an existing genre or business model doing really well. A lot of people here, especially in India, have a stigma around, following trends, where they realize if I follow a trend, I'm copying a trend. Whereas you don't realize when you build something that's following a trend with the aim of not only making it better, but adding your own flavor to it, adding your own, just to improve it, that's half of the job done, because the market is loving something of that and you're giving them something even better. So a lot of, including me, I had that stigma around that, everybody's making battle royale games. I will not make it because then everybody will say I'm copying them, right? But look at the industry now. Why do we have so many battle royales? And you'll see some of them also taking the leap of faith and improving it and actually doing better than the original battle royale, right? And these kind of examples are there in the industry from the past 100 years. A lot of good games, and not a lot, like most of the games come from existing ideas, improving them, reshaping them, and repolishing them, instead of just breaking the barrier and creating something new. Like, you don't start by building a bicycle, you just start by building a UFO. That's not how it's done, right? You can only build a UFO once you know the evolution from a bicycle to a UFO, right? So that's one way of looking at it. Don't just look at it from the innovation side of things. Try to find the market gap. And even if it's a genre doing well, see how your take on it will not only make it better for the players, but for you as well.
Thanks.
Is it answered? Any other questions? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Sudhanshu. Just wanted to put some perspective on, we are talking about D2C, where Pranav also talked about, Chirag also touched upon that, how do we monetize on that in D2C environment. Just wanted to understand a bit that how effectively we are using CVM, Customer Value Management Platform, with the in the industry, because I have seen CVM have been playing a very critical role in other industry. We have seen in e-commerce, we have seen big time use cases in telecom, which is they are running on CVM platform. So how effectively we are using this in our industry?
Pranab? Yeah, it looks like I am the one. Okay, yep. So, sorry, I didn't catch your name. Sudhanshu, see, it's a part and parcel, not maybe in the form of CVM, but for our business to be successful, that level of precision has to be there, because in D2C, the bigger challenge is we're facing two things, and I'll segue a little bit away from CVM. But there are two challenges we face. One, convincing the developer and educating them on their own rights and what lies in front of them. Because for some reason, misinformation or disinformation, the platforms have created this aura that the developer can't see beyond that. They almost are working for the platforms, right? In a lot of cases. That's one. From from a solution perspective, for it to work for the player, right, and thereby working for the developer, it has to work on a very strong CVM model. It cannot work without that, right? It is trying to pull the player from the store and saying, come here to my own web shop, my developer's web shop, right? It has a bit of, because the player also is somehow gotten into this habit of being on that platform, right? So from our perspective, to our company, we have our own internal systems on which we operate, right? It is important, and that is what we offer as solutions to the developer, finally. The answer is yes. May not be in the same form as telco, but it is there, absolutely there. And we can have a sidebar discussion on it. And if you have a CVM solution, happy to have a conversation.
Okay, so moving forward, I would like to thank you to all our panelists for the insightful discussion, on how D2C is shaping the gaming market. So we learned today that the opportunity, the challenges, and the monetization around it. If you did like to continue the conversation, please feel free to connect with the panelists after the session. Have a nice day, and thank you again for joining us.
Vijay,
Yep.
can I answer that guy's question? He asked about the filtering part.
Sudhanshu?
Yeah. No, this was.
Sure.
So just 1 minute. What Chirag said, it's fine, but I totally believe in innovation. If you're innovative enough, you make 50 games, something will click. And you filter the market. What market size you are targeting? Are you targeting masses? Are you targeting gamers? Or are you targeting some brands or something? If you are targeting a specific group, you innovate on that particular part. And it's fine. It's fine to lose. It's fine to fail. Angry Birds was the 50th game. So, good luck.
Thank you.
I thank all the panelists and the attendees. Really appreciated your time. Thank you so much. So we close the day here. Let's connect again tomorrow. We will be here at 2 o'clock for the next session. Thank you.